even though no one's here. Howdy do. I still gotta get TikTok going. Oh yeah, that's right. I do it like this now. Looks like I'm wearing a choker. That's funny. Okay, you come with me, please. There we go. Just a little better. Top of the morning. Okay, we're live. We've got the chat. We've got the Instagram, which is also live. Good morning. Let's start with some flutes. Maybe. All right, that's enough food for today. Good morning, Grand Rising. Hello, good evening. Let me know where you're calling in from. My name is Marco, coming at you from Maui, Hawaii. It's 9 a.m. in the morning, and this is literally one of my favorite days of the week because, not because of the weekend, although this weekend is going to be particularly incredible. Reagan, what's up? What's up? Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a minute. I think I sent you an email, if I'm remembering correctly. Your Philly's sister, if I remember correctly. Happy Friday from East Tennessee. Cool, Heather. Regan. Okay, yes, I did. I'll take that all caps yes as a yes. I'll write you back. Um, just make sure you email me back so I can write you back. Um, Grand Rising, guys. So okay, this is such a beautiful time because the next time you guys are gonna see me live it's gonna be the genetic new year, right? It's gonna be actually, what day is it even gonna be? It's gonna be 17. It's gonna be the 21st, the 20th. So the next time you guys are gonna see me is gonna be the 20th, and that is one day before the genetic new year. I call it the genetic new year because according to human design, the new year doesn't start until the sun gate or the sun transit goes into gate 41. We're in gate 60 right now, which is one gate away from 41. And this week is all about accepting your limitations. So if you're feeling particularly limited, starting not last night, but the night before, or that around that time, if you're like feeling like, oh wow, like I'm this is not working, that's not working, like if you're feeling like you're pressing up against limitations, don't panic. That's part of the rebirth process, and you can see it in nature all the time. You see little cotton boils, they fill up until the pressure of the cotton pops them. You see lobsters or spiders or reptiles shedding their skin. They literally grow too big for their outer skin and then they shed their skin. We even shed our skin, but we do it in a much more gradual way, I guess you could say. And so pushing up against our limitations, the more gracefully we can accept those limitations, and the less we can try to like understand them and be more in the place of accepting them, then we can actually be the benefits of that limitation. A great example is water. Water has a limitation: gravity. It always flows downhill. There are so many people in the world that would rather try to understand why water flows downhill than people who are just going to accept that limitation. Okay, water flows downhill. How are we going to make the most of that? People will spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, years of their lives trying to figure out why does this happen? Is it this? Is it that? And that's cute and all, but it's like, what is that life? There's so much more experience that can be had here in the physical with the limitations as opposed to trying to transcend them through understanding. So it's sort of exciting. I feel like I'm jumping out of my skin with ideas, and the need to do new things. Definitely. So this gate that is the new year on January 21st, and the gate that we're in currently is they're both in the root. So the pressure to like do new things or complete old things, any of that kind of like that's there. See, your vibes are always so chill, brah. I'm a chill guy. I really am a chill guy. Reagan completely forgot shit's been something. Don't worry about it. I got you. I got you. Just write me back so I know to write you back. You know. But happy you're here. Hopefully there's gonna be another little nugget here for you. Um, and yeah, it is really an exciting time because limitations are not necessarily something that are celebrated in the spotlight, and yet they are celebrated in the spotlight. What I mean by that is like, everyone, maybe not everyone, but a lot of people really like certain celebrities, like Justin Bieber or any celebrity really. And if you listen to their story, so many of these celebrities like dealt with a lot of limitation. They dealt with a lot of naysayers. They dealt with a lot of resistance, with a lot of people trying to take their energy or people saying that they should give them their energy. They dealt with a lot of that stuff, a lot of limitation. And the thing that made them great was contraction. It was decrease. It was the ability to make the most out of a situation with limited resources. This literally maximizes growth potential. And that little phrase right there is gate 41. That's the genetic new year, which gate 41 also happens to be the one out of the 64 codons in our genetic sequence that starts and stops our strands of DNA. It's literally the alpha and the omega. So when it comes to New Year's, I've been watching everybody, not, I mean, not everybody, but I've been watching a lot of people bang their heads against this January 1st New Year New Me thing. And it's been mildly entertaining, but it's also very sad because people think that there's something wrong with them. And I can relate this to like sailing, right? And not you don't even need to sail to understand this analogy, but you understand that you can't control the wind. You also understand that you can't control the waves and the tide. The most you can do is point the ship or the boat in the right direction using the rudder and set the sails in the right way so that you go in the direction that you want to go. Now, January 1st is a storm. Okay? The wind is blowing against you. The waves, the currents are fighting against you. January 1st happens when the sun is in gate 38. 38 is the gate of the fighter. This is about preserving your individuality and struggling against something and really like attempting to discover like what is the value of life? What is the value of this risk? What is worth fighting for? What is worth opposing? What opposes me? And what does that say about me? And that's where most people are starting their New Year's resolutions. And it's nuts. What's up, Big Island? Kona, how we doing? Yeah, yeah. What courses would you recommend I do whilst doing trauma work in the therapy room? Hi, Philly. So the main thing in the archive that really is like helping with the deconditioning process in human design is called sensory design, right? And it's actually our live season right now that's happening. So today, after this class, in about 2 hours or a little less than 2 hours, me and Pasha are going to go live in the archive and we're going to show everybody our method of deconditioning the sacral, right? Decondition. So if you have a sacral and it's suppressed, or you have an undefined sacral and it's heavily conditioned, this is going to be a really helpful class for you because instead of approaching human design from the mental perspective, we get to approach human design from the physical, from an actual relationship with your 3D body as opposed to a relationship with a two-dimensional body graph. And again, not that reports or human design are worthless, but a tree needs the branches and the roots. Human design is really just the branches. Sensory design is the roots. So it starts at 11 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time. That's 1 p.m. Pacific Time, 2 p.m. Mountain Time. And so if you can make it, come join the archive. The archive is a membership. It's a private membership. It's 37 bucks a month. That gets you 4 classes a week. There's biomechanics classes, soft tissue classes, which Reagan, the soft tissue, will also be very, very helpful. Um, there are going to be Reiki classes uploaded there, all kinds of different. It's like basically the catch-all for me and my partner Pasha's training. All right. So I guess I'm going for the recordings. That'll be at like midnight. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Prana's in there. It's great, which is so cool too because, this is something that although there is a price tag on it, it's not something that we're looking to like certify people in. We're not here to like become the teachers. We're just like the pioneers of it in this way. And to have people that are in at a level of mastery within their own lives in terms of human design and physical therapy and helping people with their bodies to be in there, it means a lot. So I'm really excited about it. Do you ever use the Neutrino Design app? Yeah, that is the app. That is the premier app. Um, I actually have a really really great friendship because of Prana with the developer of Neutrino Design. He's like me, Prana, and Neutrino Design are all dads. We're all like really into human design, and we're also like very practical and pragmatic men. And so one of the things that I really love about Neutrino Design, is that it's not trying to turn human design into something that it's not. It's not trying to make human design into some like cosmic, soupy like dare I say, new age, crunchy hippie kind of thing, which a lot of apps have done, and is one of the reasons I don't really like them as much. That might have been a horse. Yeah, I have horses over here. Marie, hi. Cha Cha, hello. Cha Cha, I got some cool stuff coming your way. You probably saw it on my story already. You asked what it was called, and I said something mildly inappropriate. But it's our crew, or we're the prime mates. You know what I'm saying? We're the prime mates. We're monkeys and we're humans and we're also um, top tier, top shelf partners. I'd love to meet someone with an emotional authority to hear how it's like from them. So this the Saracram. Do you not know any emotional authority people? Half the world is emotional authority. You could find one pretty easily. Maybe not one that you like, but you could definitely find them. They're not that hard to find. Um, and that is curious, and I respect the desire to learn more about the emotions, because as somebody with an undefined solar plexus as well, what I've been asking myself, because I know plenty of emotional people, my brother, my mom are both emotional authority. um, they are they can, like anything, they can be in alignment and harmonized and regulated, or out of alignment, and one is not better than the other, but one is definitely easier to be around, and one definitely takes a lot more discipline and self-responsibility and integrity and honesty and transparency than the other. And yeah. Oh, you're emotional authority. Got it. Okay. Sipping on the pu'er tea from my buddy Josh, which I don't have a link to share you guys. Let's see. Redhead Huntress. So if you go to my website, and for anyone that doesn't know what their body graph is, you can go to my website and generate a body graph for free. It gives you all the basic information, and you could go spend a bunch of time like Googling it for yourself, or you could give me 20 bucks or 35 bucks. If you give me 20 bucks, I'll send you a report that just details everything in terms of like what all of these things mean, gatekeeping a little bit. Uh, it's because I've spent time like creating these reports, but alas, I don't need to explain myself. If you give me 35 bucks, I'll give you that explanation. I'll give you techniques to work with your body graph, and I'll also give you like a human design 101. So it would be like a course, your analysis, and a list of like techniques on how to do it. And again, it's 35 bucks. That one's called the Reiki report. If you can swing that, I recommend that. I made the $20 report available for people that like are literally scraping the barrel. But my aim is to make all this stuff accessible financially, but then also energetically, right? Like energetically, what I mean by that is there's a lot of information in human design. I'm a reflector 3-5. So I've like looked at all of the different bodies of wisdom and knowledge, and I'm going to reflect back to you the stuff that actually tracks in real time. Before I got into human design, I was a martial artist and I did Reiki and I did work with men. So there's very little room for like fluffy BS basically. Anyway, random bit. But a while ago you had mentioned sacral chanting. I think you have a video on this. Brit, you're talking about the sacral calibrations. So that's the don't worry about it, Fook. Don't worry about it, Fook. This is for you. So you're a sacral being. Generators and manifesting generators are sacral beings. The important thing you have to understand about being a sacral being is that your gut will always let you know or Mm. For man gens, it might even be a little bit more like or It might be a little bit more kinetic for man gens. Not that it can't be that way for generators as well. But with the sacral, there's like something inside you that will like let you know through I have energy. This is exciting. This whoa, I'm full of energy. And I'm out of energy. Oh, this is very deflating. And if you don't listen to that, you're not able to sleep at night. Life is frustrating. You're going to blame your problems on everyone else. Nothing will ever be enough, right? You're disconnected from your sex organs. This is your sexual creative life force. This is your prana. This is your jing is what they call it in China. I appreciate what you spoke on yesterday, the day before, on autistic stimming energy. You said it was a resource, not a social stigma. If only we harnessed, would you kindly riff on this? Yeah, totally. So, like, one of the things that's important to recognize about ADHD and neurodivergency and autism is that, like, these are mutations within the scope of life. And if you could imagine a time when, let's just say, the world was populated. Actually, no, let's not. That's a totally different story. I'm gonna blend things too much. Let's use the 100th monkey experiment. If you guys have never looked this up, I'm about to tell it to you, hopefully in a more concise way than the internet can, which is very challenging, but I'm going to try it anyways, or make an attempt anyways. So the 100th monkey experiment is an experiment where they had an isolated population of monkeys in Japan, and they put sweet potatoes in the sand for the monkeys to eat. The majority of the monkeys learned that, oh, these sweet potatoes appear here at this time. We're going to go grab the sweet potatoes, nom, 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 eat them. One day, younger monkeys, monkeys that are not so entrenched in the ways of the older monkeys, decided, well, there's all this sand on these sweet potatoes. We're going to wash them off in the river first. So they started doing it. And all of the older monkeys are like, what are these stupid young monkeys doing? Well, eventually the young monkeys become the older monkeys, and they get watched by their young monkeys, children, and they're eventually now you have this whole population on this isolated island of monkeys starting to wash their fruit. This is called a mutation. That's specifically called a sociological mutation, but there are genetic mutations similar to autism, although a lot of autism and neurodivergency is a result of environmental conditioning, making it a sociological mutation. And what a mutation is it's a divergence from the norm. And it is quite literally the point of evolution, because here's the thing about life. If it never diverges, if it always just replicates itself, then one enemy can take it out. But life has found a way around this. Instead of just duplicating and replicating itself, it starts to branch off. And so you could sort of see if you know X-Men, this is another great example. X-Men is a beautiful example of like how powerful and misunderstood mutations are. So if you have been labeled as neurodivergent, ADHD, any of that kind of stuff, and you've been given pills or you've been fed this story that you're a handicapped, mentally disabled, emotionally dysregulated person, like understand that's their perspective. That's the perspective of the external authority. Now, I am another external authority that is saying instead of believing that story, tune into your nervous system, learn how to tolerate that story about you, and cultivate what we call inner authority in human design. Now, inner authority is something that's cultivated by way of experimentation and expression and exploration. The three E's. That's not a thing. I just made that up right now. The three E's, okay? Experimentation, expression, and exploration. And the reason why you want to explore your inner authority is so that you can resist the external authority, right? Like if you're at the bottom of the ocean, there's a tremendous amount of pressure being put on you. Somebody that goes down often is more able to stay relaxed when there's all this pressure on them. And so the way that you turn autism or neurodivergency or ADHD into a superpower is you use the you're broken, you use the you're different than everybody else, you use that to your advantage, you use it like leverage. The same way that if you had an obstacle in front of you, it's like, oh, I could see this as being something that's in my way, or I could see it as the thing that is my way. I just have to get up, under, through, around. Like, you have a gift, you have a mutation for the world. Whether or not that mutation is viable and gets passed on to the next generation will depend on what you do with that mutation and nothing else. No amount of somebody saying, "Oh, I'm going to create a safe space for you and I'm going to help you," is ever actually going to help you. That's going to coddle you. That's going to make you dependent on them. That's going to make you conditioned to them. And it doesn't mean that you can't accept help, but I guarantee you the people that are trying to help you, if you're not helping yourself, are of lower quality than the people that will actually be able to help you if you take initiative and help yourself. Now, this is also an invitation into the archive because I can't just sit here and teach you guys everything that I'm teaching in the archive. That's what the archive is for. It's a collection of biomechanics. So we reconnect you with your walking, running, and throwing. Soft tissue, which is myofascia released, all of the knots and pain and like little frozen grapes and sand in the gears of your body. There's a way to get it out. It's called myofascia release. And sensory design, which is a physical approach through the senses, through exploration to deconditioning the body, which is again letting go of all the stories. Hi, Ori. There's my horse right there. Letting go of the stories about you, not only mentally that you're holding on to, but also physically. So anyway, that's what it is. And what it looks like is instead of like stimming with your hands, like if you stim a lot, right? One of the exercises we have hand exercises, and it's like make your hand bigger. Like, what do you think this is? Tolerate the expansion of your hand. Your hands, as somebody that's actually neurodivergent or ADHD, the reason your hands are like this is because you have an energetically very big hand, but physically a very small hand, or a hand that's always holding on to something. And check this out. Wrap your finger around your hand, or sorry, wrap your hand around your wrist, like right about here. Point. Now notice how small your wrist gets. Okay, holding on to something. Even close this again, pull the finger down. Your wrist gets smaller. Now open up your hand. If you don't feel your wrist getting bigger, it's not some kind of personal problem like you have some unique messed up thing about you. It's quite literally a neurological issue. It's a lamp that's unplugged. People are like, why doesn't this lamp work? And it's like, oh, you're just wired differently and you're messed up. And it's like, no, the lamp isn't plugged in. Just plug the lamp in. So anyway, that's the kind of stuff we do in the archive is see for yourself, know for yourself, right? Is that morning routine you suggest in the archive? Well, the archive, we don't have any morning routines in there, just because again, everyone is going to experience and need to explore it in a different way. And so, one thing that you'll notice that's very different about the archive than other memberships or other coaching programs, we don't have any answers for you guys. That is a horse, definitely, yeah. We don't have any answers. This totally looks like lava, right? I got this vibe going on in here, guys, light wise, that I love. And I'm about to go traveling for 2 weeks, and I already miss the vibe that I have in here. Anyway, I digress. Uh, we're not here to give you answers. I'm speaking for me and my partner Pasha. Which again, if you guys want to join a live class, get on the archive in the next hour. We're gonna go live in the archive at 11 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time. It's $37 for the month. So you get like 4 live classes, a bunch of courses, a super cool community. I mean, there's people that are like literally fixing their scoliosis in the archive, doing face drills and chiropractic. Again, we're not here to say that this is how you say fixing people, but we are tracking what people are doing with this kind of guidance. What's it like living in Hawaii? It's awesome. I live on Maui, and I'm traveling to Colorado, Las Vegas, and San Diego. Colorado to see my business partner, Vegas to see another business partner, although he's more like a client and investor and teacher, one of those kinds of things. He's the one that got me started with Reiki. He's the one that said, Marco, you're too good at Reiki to be coaching, toddlers and preteens in parkour. Like, you should be healing billionaires. And then he introduced me to billionaires, and I did Reiki work with billionaires, and like, it was great. And then I had a baby and moved to Hawaii, and now this is even better. I love it. I love this part of my life. Um, but I'm gonna go see him. It's been a while. I haven't been to Vegas in easily like probably like 4 years, 4 or 5 years, and I've been in Hawaii for like 5 years now. I started coming out here doing retreats with um, with Sacred Sons. Beautiful work. Eventually met a woman, fell in love, had a baby, and now we're here. And now all my time is just like I see the potential of this mutation that's happening with human design, of what's happening with sensory deconditioning. Again, exploring the physical body graph as opposed to the two-dimensional body graph that you see in your report. Oh, we will be visiting SD next weekend too. Oh, welcome. I'm not gonna be there until the first, and I'll be seeing my family, so I'm not gonna have a ton of time. Although I have been thinking like, oh, it'd probably be a good idea to like set up some events. Which is this is a great idea. I could just do some little pop-ups while I'm traveling. I love it. Do you have a favorite part about living in Hawaii? Honestly, I love being so far away from the mainland. Like I feel like the US is a different country. I love the vibe here. I love the reason people come here because it's never the reason that they actually stay. So Hawaii is just full of surprises. And as a reflector, it's like I thrive in surprises. And so everyone walks around barefoot. Yeah, you don't really need shoes unless you're on lava rocks. Then you either need really tough feet or shoes. Do you still work with Sacred Sons? I think that's how I found your content a while ago. So I don't work with Sacred Sons anymore. I found for myself that I was reaching a point of limitation in working with an organization, and I actually needed to stand on my own, which kind of seems counterintuitive to like being part of a brotherhood. But my brotherhood now is stronger than it's ever been, and it's because I, as a man myself, have set my own standards. Not, and I'm not looking to my brotherhood to set the standards. I'm setting the standards, and I'm seeing which of my brothers show up and which ones actually live up to the standard. Because there's plenty of people that say, "Yes, I agree with that." But then when you confront them, or when I confront them with, "Hey, you said you agree with this, but you did the opposite," we're at an impasse. And if there's resistance there, that lasts like you get grace. That lasts longer than like a couple months. I'm pretty patient, but if you're resistant to a collectively agreed upon truth of like that happened and that was not okay, if you're in resistance to that, I can't do it. And there's a lot of egos in men's work, guys. You guys already know. That's why I created the men's work memes, so that, excuse me, so that we could roast ourselves first before everybody else starts to roast us. Because I see videos of men doing the work that I was a part of, and people are just like roasting them. They're like, "Look at these soy boys," and it's really cruel and mean, but also like, fuck them. Like that's the reason why dudes are unaliving themselves. Not that that's the reason, but it's like the fact that this work is not being done because of what other people are gonna think. It's always like that. When you start to take responsibility for your own life and become just an absolute gangster in your own life, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, this guy, he thinks he's the shit. They're trying to suppress your ego. Even spiritual people, oh, why are you have such aspirations? Why do you want so many material things? Well, dude, because I have a family, and it's really not that many material things, right? It's just I want to feel safe. I want to feel secure, because I will literally feel guilty if I don't secure that. I dated a Sacred Son. There was a lot of ego in that man's work, right? And this is the thing, is like, just because a man goes to an event or does a little bit of work on himself, I still have work to do on myself. and I consider myself like a very conscious individual, but like I still get upset when my partner's nervous system is not regulated, and she's a woman. So I'm coming up again with my own standards of like, you know, yes, I'm doing my best to make sure that my nervous system is always regulated so that people are always safe. But here's the thing: if I never go to the edge of my capacity, if I never get to the breaking point, I'm not as safe as you think I am. And this is what's so cool about sensory design is it takes you to the breaking point so that you can build tolerance, the ability to endure something patiently without uh, it's just it's like true masculine surrender and stoicism is not the suppression of external stimulus, but the development of a system that can handle whatever life throws at it. How do you make day-to-day choices as a reflector? One at a time. Uh, I know I have a lot of those guru answers. You know, one of the things that's really helped me, and this is something that is in the archive, is Notion. It's the app called Notion. It's a note-taking app. It's phenomenal, and it's something that has given my left-facing personality variables, because my design variables are right-facing. It's given my mind the structure that's necessary to live life unlike I believe living I'm living life unlike any reflector. I do more than any reflector does. And I would love to meet a reflector that is on my level or above me. I just have not met them yet. And I don't say that from an ego perspective, but it's like I'm running several businesses, I'm a father, managing like land. Like there's just a lot of things that I'm doing that typically people would hear reflector and be like, "Oh wow, that sounds like a lot," and it's like it is, but it's not. It's like I'm not twisting and contorting myself and doing it for the wrong reasons or the wrong people. That's the difference. Is even as an undefined sacral being, you can have a lot of energy if you know the value of your energy and you know how to leverage it. I'll give you a great example. I'm going to call my buddy Spencer out right now. He hit me up last night and was like, "Hey, bro, I want to hang out, but I'm like writing this ingredient list out for this chefing gig that I got." And I'm like, "Oh, sweet. How are you doing it?" Because for me, if I'm gonna write an ingredient list out, or if I'm gonna do anything regarding that I might have to do again, and I'm writing it out on paper, and I'm gonna send a picture to my client, like for me, that's very inefficient. And so I told him, I said, "GTF over here. I'm going to build you a Notion database, and we're going to have all your ingredients listed out, and we're going to be able to build on it so that you can, how you say, uh, never have to do this again. You can just build a database, and it can just get more and more professional." And we did something that he's been avoiding for years in literally like 2 hours, and it was awesome. And that's the power of knowing how to leverage your lack of sacral energy or inconsistent sacral energy is you just have to become more creative and more efficient. Again, it's not the why is this happening for to me, it's how is this happening for me. How can I get my perspective in a way where I can learn, I can grow, I can become more creative, I can become more resourceful, I can become more humbled and ask for help. Like that's what I'm here to do. Larry, what's good, baby? You're early, but that's awesome. Yeah, this is the lives. You know how it is. Um, and oh, you're here from YouTube. Got you. Well, what's up, Larry? How's that gym push going, Matilda? I love that. I think it's a good advice for us with sacral as well. Totally. And the thing about having a defined sacral is your gut will let you know when something is worth your time or not. It's again, it's very visceral. But if your mind is so loud and your gut is so quiet, it's kind of like this. Is there's this thing called delayed gratification, right? It's like it's much easier to just put a band-aid on the thing than to actually do the work necessary to fully heal the thing. Not that anything can fully be healed because everything's always falling apart and getting better. But anyway, I digress. A lot of the times, and people do this a lot with emotion, they're like, "Oh, I don't even want to touch that emotion because that's going to be like a huge wave of energy." And it's like, is it? What happens when you touch it? And this is a symptom of society is when we touch something and it's like too much effort, we put it down and we go, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, that's okay. I'm supposed to look for grace and ease, and I'm manifesting flow. And this is not flow. This is too hard. That is some kid shit. That is straight up some kid shit. That does not translate to actual manifestation. And you don't even have to have a defined ego to be this way. Your willpower, the standard for willpower in society is on the floor. Okay? You can be obese, you can be broke, you can be all this stuff, and society will take care of you. You'll live at a very low standard of living, and for a lot of the people that are in that, like that's okay with them. And yes, I have judgments about that, but I'm also not like trying to like make your lives harder. I'm just calling that what it is, which it is that exists. And there are people that are in that space that want to break free from that, but they don't know how. And that's where I'm like, hey, look, I can feel your heart. I see where you're at. It's going to be challenging. There's no easy way to do this. There's no shortcuts. There's no life hacks. Okay. The thing about a life hack even is that you have to do the life hack. You have to practice that life hack regularly. Otherwise, it's just like a little gimmick and a little trick. And sometimes they work, but anyway. Hi Marco, it's Gracie, you rock. Hi Grace. What's up? Jason, letting go. Yeah, so one way to view letting go, instead of letting it go, how about push it away? Because here's the thing. Do we let go of our breath, or do we push breath out of us? Real like kind of like fuzzy question, right? You're like, wait, do I let go of my breath, or do I push breath out of me? Like if you pass out and your body starts breathing, is it because there's positive pressure in the air that's filling up your lungs, or is it because there's a negative pressure in the air that's pulling air out of you? Think about it, like the live, share the live, follow me if you're not already following. I'm going to go pee. I'll be right back. So which is it, guys? Is it that air is being pushed into us, or is it that air is being pulled out of our bodies? How do you regulate your girlfriend's nervous system? I regulate my girlfriend's nervous system by regulating my own nervous system. And in doing that, oftentimes that creates a space where she doesn't have to be regulated for a shorter amount of time. Because oftentimes, and it's funny, I made a video about this yesterday. I was like, public service announcement for men, women, if I'm totally off, tell me to STFU and I'll be quiet. But men, stop trying to get your girlfriends to be men. Like, stop trying to get your girlfriends to a place where their nervous system is so consistently regulated that they're just like reliable and consistent. They're women. If you can't hold them in their lows, you don't deserve them in their highs. And if you can't hold them in their lows, you also can't hold them in their highs. A lot of men project you need to regulate your nervous system because my nervous system is dysregulated. So the way that I regulate my girlfriend's nervous system is by regulating my own nervous system. That's it. And not to say that like women don't give a f about your nervous system and just like, be psychos. Like care about that stuff. Oh, my piggies. I'll be right back. I got to go chase some pigs. Well, good learning moment. Anyway, yeah, tap the live if you guys are enjoying this. I'm not your typical spiritual dude, you know what I'm saying, guys? I'm not your typical spiritual dude. And that's because no one is typical. Everyone is just pretending to be. And in the worst ways, they're doing this. Like, right, recognize, like, everyone would rather be unique physically. Or, sorry. Yeah, everyone would rather be unique physically, but energetically familiar, likable, politically correct. But that's not how we are. We're physically very unique. We're physically nuanced, but physically, we're all very much more the same than we are different. Energetically, we're more different than we are the same. And so again, the attention, it's not that it has to be on something else. It's yes and. Okay? Most people are locked in. Yes, but that, but this, but that. Reality is we're multidimensional. Okay? It's yes and. It's focus and peripheral. And something you can do right now. I'll show you. I'll guide you through an exercise right now. That's going to help you understand that there are three types of vision. Okay? There's centered, center. If crossing your eyes disorients you, and because of that you've never crossed your eyes, you don't know what center is. Or rather, when you start to get centered, it gets challenging. You're not very good at it, and so you let go. Okay? That's one. That's center. Focus is the one we're all used to. It's the thing you use when you're typing, when you're driving, etc. Peripheral is being able to see everything around the thing that you're looking at. Okay? And the way you test the way you go through this is you cross your eyes, either right in the middle, look up. It's okay if it's disorienting. As long as you're not driving, you're fine. If anything happens, if you feel woozy or dizzy or whatever, just lay down. But how hard can you cross your eyes before you start to get like, whoa, whoa? When you attempt to center yourself in a situation that is stressful, this is the diagnostic that will tell me how well you can hold your sense of self before losing or giving somebody else control. I almost don't know how to move this morning because of trying to be too politically correct. Yeah, exactly, Jason. I know what that feels like, and it's debilitating until the point where it's like, oh, cool, here's a freaking mold for me to break out of. Back to the eye exercises. Cross the eyes. Look at your phone. Focus on your phone. Now look through your phone and see everything around your phone as far as you can see. You can even take your hands out to the sides and see like, okay, can I see my fingers? Now I can see them right there. Can I see my fingers? I can see them right there. That's called peripheral. That's the one that everyone is highly underdeveloped in. And what I mean by this and how this translates to life is like, let's say you're so focused on getting a certain position with a certain company. You're focused on that. And because you're so focused on it, you don't see the budding opportunity over here with a startup or with doing your own business because it's not the thing you're focusing on. And again, I'm not saying focus is the enemy. I'm saying sole focus is the enemy. Because it's like what the Western medical system does with plants. So they're like, oh wow, this compound really is like very beneficial, but then there's these other compounds that we don't really want, so let's just take this one compound and make it into a drug and sell it and suppress any information about the plant itself and its ability to help people as a plant. Yes, owls do this, Carla. Owls have incredible their heads can turn all the way around without them moving their bodies. It's like the question, you ever heard that? Your parents ever say to you guys like, "Oh, I can see behind my head." Check this out. I got eyes in the back of my head. Check this out. I can literally see behind me, guys. I don't have to move my body. I'm just moving my neck. I can see behind me. I'm in like a pretty extreme range of motion right now, but I can focus on something behind me. And with my peripheral vision, I can see even more of what's behind me. Now check this out. I can see you guys. I can't read the comments yet, but eventually I'll get there. I can see you guys. Well, I can see myself in the camera. The edges of you is where you grow. That's why they say, like, seek discomfort. It's because it's not that it's too overwhelming, it's not too stimulating. People are not too much. You can't tolerate them. You're weak. Just accept that. Be like, I'm weak and I need to get stronger. That's where we're at right now. And if you want to get stronger in the way that I'm making myself stronger, come join the archive. It's a super affordable membership. It's horrendously underpriced in my opinion. The reason it's underpriced though is because I want like anyone to be able to access it. If you can't summon $37 a month, if you can't make that out of thin air with a smartphone, with all of the opportunities, especially living in the West and especially with a device, if you can't manifest 37 bucks a month to invest into yourself or invest into a membership and a training that is going to reinvest back into you, most gym memberships cost more than this. And you have to hire a personal trainer on top of it. If you can't do that, your first goal is to figure out how to manifest $37 a month and then learn this. It's like we can't give away freebies because again, there's no shortcuts. There's no shortcuts. That's it. There's no shortcuts. And you can do it. Even if it's like your last 37 bucks. Again, it's like one of the best investments you can make in life is into yourself. Because the return on investment is always multiplied. You don't change the inside of the house by painting the outside. You have to change the inside. And when it comes to human design, we have to go into our physical bodies. You can't just go into your two-dimensional body graph. We have a physical approach, a somatic approach to human design that nobody is doing right now. All of the top people in the world that are doing somatic therapy, psychedelic therapy, all of this stuff, they don't know that they're doing it, but they're doing what we're doing. But they're $10,000 for 3 sessions. They're incredibly expensive. Okay? This is 37 bucks a month. Anyway, I didn't realize the live was here. Yeah. Levi and Cody's mom. And this is great for parents as well because, yeah, and I love, Carla, that question that you asked, like, how do you regulate your girlfriend's nervous system? Same question. How do you regulate your children's nervous system? Well, you regulate your nervous system. That's it. If you snap or you lose your cool with your kids, you can make it. You can blame them. Oh, the kids were just being a lot today. Or you can take radical responsibility, which is something I highly recommend, and say, yeah, the kids overloaded my nervous system today. Right? It's not I was triggered, you triggered me. Not that. It's, dude, that's, I'm feeling very activated right now. The focus, the responsibility is with you, not with anyone else. Melora Yoga. So the link is in my bio for anyone. I didn't say that earlier. The link is in my bio for anyone that wants to join the archive. And we're teaching what we call sensory design, which is a sensory deconditioning approach to the human design body graph. Now, I imagine that you're a yoga instructor. This would be incredibly informative for your yoga practice. If you're a fitness guy or a gal, if you're a gamer, if you're a human being, right? If you have any of the 5 senses and any of the regular organs that most humans have, the archive is going to show you how to build a relationship with your organs synergistically, turning a bunch of people with instruments playing their own song into a band or an orchestra that plays one song, and that one song is going to be like your authentic song. It's not going to be something you heard on the radio that you're doing a cover of. We're going to teach you how to and give you opportunities and prompts, because we can't connect you to your organs for you. I know that kind of sounds weird to say, but you're the only person that can explore the inside of your body. We are going to encourage that. We're going to hold space. We're going to point you in the right direction. We're going to give you exercises. We're going to show you how this correlates to your body graph. So there's a lot of things that we teach in there. On top of that, we teach biomechanics in there. We have courses for biomechanics. We have courses for soft tissue, which is like physically removing trauma from your body. Marco, I'm loving all of this. I caught you just as I was heading into the gym. I'm loving this approach, my friend. Yeah, Larry. So okay, this is what I was talking about. And we have a class at 11 a.m. Hawaii time, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and 2 p.m. And if you want to get in on that class, the only way to get the link is by joining the archive. Once you're in the archive, we have a calendar. There's a link to that event, as well as other events that we do. Oh, totally. Sorry, guys. So I think he said once to do box breathing to help calm yourself down. Definitely box breathing is helpful. Yeah, that's been my go-to before this. I love that one. Matilda, sorry I'm getting at this question so late, sis. Let me get in here. What would be a good exercise to do if you're in a stressful situation and need to bring yourself back into your self and power? Box breathing is great for that. But okay, so I got you, Matilda. Hopefully you're still here. So I like to call this the dragon's breath. It's a parabolic breathing technique. So I'll kind of have to like show you my stomach. And hold on a second. Let me get my camera to be deep. Okay, great. So normally when we breathe, the natural breathing pattern for most people is when you inhale, your belly expands, and when you exhale, your belly contracts. So this is normal, right? Or this is the natural breath. Inhale, belly expands. Exhale, belly contracts. What you're gonna do is you're gonna do the opposite. So you're gonna breathe in and suck in your belly, and then breathe out and push out your belly. So you're gonna sync up the pressure here and the pressure here. And this is something that for me, and when I breathe in and I'm sucking in, I'm visualizing my auric field coming back like onto my skin until I'm wearing it like a wetsuit. And then when I'm pressurizing out, I'm pushing my center into that wetsuit. So if you can imagine that you're wearing really tight clothes and the clothes are like hugging you, and then you flex all your muscles. I can actually maybe just show you guys. Tight clothes, and then you flex your muscles into them. You're going to be doing that with your breath. You're going to be doing that with your energy and your mind. And this is something that I developed as a 3-5 reflector, because I had situations where I would like have to go into, Costco, or I'm at a party and, someone's energy is super whack and it just like, it hooks me. As mindful as you are, if you're like moving around in the world, things are going to hook you, right? Even if you're being mindful, you're still going to step on people's toes or get your toes stepped on. And so I developed this technique as a way of through experimentation, right? It's just like I was like, what do I need to do for myself? And this is also something I would suggest to you, Matilda, is like figure out what sort of breathing, what visualization grounds you in yourself. And so I did the thing. I'm like, figure it out. But then also I did give you something. So and hopefully you enjoy that. And for anyone, even if you're not a reflector, give that a shot. Give that a shot, because that's something that is incredibly, again, it's very grounding to do this, because some people are locked in that breath. And what that means typically, if you're locked in that breath, was where you when you inhale, your belly goes in, and you exhale and your body goes out. It's not that you have a personal problem, it's just a neurological thing. It's a you always feel like you're in danger, right? When you breathe normally, the natural breath that's like parasympathetic, that's like chill, right? Is inhale through the nose, expanding of the belly. Exhale through the nose, contracting of the belly. That's the relaxed one. When you're doing the other one, it's like there's a threat, defend yourself against the threat. Haha, sometimes I think I have a spacesuit. I mean, you do. Like the body is a spaceship, or the body is a vehicle. Physical body is a vehicle. But there's also vehicles that are non-physical, that are interlinked with the body. Chakras, those are vehicles, those are containers or energies that you can work with. And it's so important to work with them, because if you don't, then again you lose contact with your physical organs. And there's plenty of people who have powerful connection to their energetic organs perceptively, like it looks like they have powerful connection to their energetic organs, but they don't have connection to their physical organs. And if you have connection to your physical organs, you look at that person and you're like, that guy's a scam artist. Everyone thinks this guy is super spiritual, enlightened. He has no connection to his heart. What happens in his feet doesn't get felt in his hand. What's going on in his head doesn't translate down to his toes. And it's not that there's anything wrong with that person. It's just that if you follow that person, that's the blind leading the blind. And hopefully you're not blind. So what is your anchor? I mean, breathing and heart is usually my anchor. Sound as well. Like if sound is an issue, like I'm very sensitive to sound, and so I'll put my hands over my ears, and I'll start to stimulate my physical body, give myself something to sort of like anchor into physically, pull on my ears, whatever's being overstimulated, instead of like shutting it down, I'm just going to reinforce it, if that makes sense. So I'm using the annoyance or the thing that usually overstimulates people to create an opportunity for my nervous system to become more advanced. What was that crawling critter behind you? Can't tell if it's inside or outside the window. Either a horse, probably a horse, because you can't see the pigs, but I also have little pigs running around right now. Wow, I just got hooked to a guy like this. Seemed spiritual, but was so. You mean disconnected, Katie? Or so connected? Like, again, you can seem spiritual and actually be spiritual, but those kinds of people seem less spiritual. Like, the people that seem spiritual are usually the ones that are kind of like over the top, trying to prove that they're spiritual or be more spiritual than everyone else. Disconnected, yeah, that makes sense. And again, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with them. They're not. It's not shameful to be that way. But if you're in my tribe, you're around my children, you're around my friends, and you're bringing your influence and signature, that is something that I'm going to shame out. Or rather, the systems that I've built to keep my family and my people safe, it will shame that out. And by shame, it's not necessarily like you're wrong for existing, but it's like, hey, you don't fit in here. And a lot of people are really afraid to exclude people, and because that, they include predators, they include manipulators, they include all the wrong types of people, the people that you don't want in your community. If you try to include everyone and you're afraid to exclude certain people based off of politically incorrect or judge or any of that kind of stuff, and a lot of people do this. They're so very inclusive. And then 10 years later, they got a bunch of yes men around them. And they're like, how did I get here? I'm just in an echo chamber of my own filth. And how did I get here? It's, well, you wanted to include everyone. And so everyone showed up. Because the people that feel some type of way about how you say being excluded, like if you exclude me from your group, I'm like, okay, sweet. There's a better group for me. I don't look at rejection as like oh, I'm unworthy. I used to, and sometimes it will still come up, but I get to the other side of that. I don't just like let the story end there. I got rejected from this group. Ah, okay. Well, what happened? Well, I did this. They didn't like that. They have this standard. I have a different standard. Okay. Well, our standards for what we want are different. Yeah. Yeah. Fear of excluding equals including people not for you. Exactly. Yes, that was a great way to put it. Totally. So let's see. HD related question from who's this? Matilda again. Let's go. I was speaking with this guy who's been into HD for a while, and he shared that his incarnation cross is something laws. I don't remember which one. And I said, mine is rulership. And he made a comment that, okay, you're here to rule the laws. I guess when he spoke about us interacting, but what does this mean? I mean, it means whatever he wants it to mean. Like, see if you can't smell his intention in that. Like, you're here to rule me, right? Your incarnation cross is here to rule my incarnation cross. I don't know what that means. You can ask him. I guess when he spoke about us interacting, but what does this mean? Or in general, without rule or the RAX of rulership from this aspect? Can you say it in a way that would then rule whatever the theme of the other person's cross is? Does this even make any sense? Do you have any experience with your cross of rulership from this point of view? Got you. Steven, what's up? Yeah, we're on YouTube and TikTok. It's a little bit nicer over on YouTube, quality wise. But anyway, Matilda, super cool question because this is the exact kind of stuff that I'm talking about. Like there's people who know things about human design that are like using them in a proper context. That use of it to me doesn't necessarily make that much sense. Like again, ask him to elaborate because if you're confused about that, then he might be confused about it too. Um, but in the context of like I'm not here to like rulership as a thing of like having a territory or being able to delegate resources within a territory. That's what the rulership is about. Which it doesn't mean that you guys can't be allies in that way, but just from the way that you phrased that, and this might be some of your own kind of like projection coming up as well, is like he's telling me that I'm supposed to rule him because when I read that, that was the first thing that stood out to me. And I'm hyper vigilant about this stuff because I know plenty of people who like know a lot about human design and they say a lot of stuff about human design that's not necessarily things that Ra said or that the voice told Ra. They're just making up their own interpretations, and it doesn't have the same weight as what Ra said because it's something somebody else said. It's a different weight, doesn't mean it's not valuable, but you don't want to say like, I mean, this is the same as being like, oh, Jesus said this. Like, where did he say that, dude? Oh, he said it in passing. I intuitively intuited it. It's like you're just saying that. Just say that's what you're saying. You know what I mean? Like it's so much more impactful to just claim like, oh, hey, this is what I think about this. Is like my interpretation is that your cross of rulership and my cross of laws are going to interact in this way together. You're going to rule over my laws. Because again, like I'm like, if someone told that to me, I'd be like, what are you talking about? Like, what laws have you created that are going to help me rule? That's what I would be curious about. Like, what laws are you manifesting? What laws do you live by that are going to enhance my rulership? And it because it's quite literally, it's like if you want to do business with me, if you want to do a deal with me, let me know what you're bringing to the table, and then I'm going to ask you, what about this? What about that? What about that? What about that? Because I'm thorough. That's why we have contracts, right? And especially if you're in a state of rulership, this is and what it sounds like too. And men will do this to women unconsciously, right? They'll come up and they'll say like, oh, you're here to heal me. Let's engage in this healing process as a way of getting sex, straight up. And women will do this to men. They'll give them sex as a way of getting hold some space for me emotionally, please. Rather than just being like, hey, I really want someone to just make love to, or I really want someone to just hold me emotionally, and I don't want to give them my body, or I don't want to give them my emotions. And even if you say that, like, there's no way to separate um, the physical intimacy from emotional intimacy. There's no way to separate that. For people that say that they can, I guarantee you, give me 5 minutes with them, and I will have them so disoriented. And I don't mean like I'm gonna like mess with them, but I'm gonna give them stimulus and be like, cross your eyes, puff your cheeks, look to the left, keep your eyes facing up. All right, now make your hands bigger. I will have them crying on the floor in 5 minutes because you don't. That's just not how the physical body works. It's a disconnect between the solar plexus and the part of you that feels and the part of you that receives pleasure. And when there's a disconnect between those two things, yeah, it's rough. So Matilda, yeah, yeah, way better on YouTube, Javier, for sure. Yeah, that was my thought. Yeah, Matilda, and again, it's like, guys, please be careful with human design out there because human design is a tool. It's just like money. If you're an alcoholic, and you get a lot of money, you can now become a even larger alcoholic. If you're a saint and somebody that gives money away and you suddenly come into a bunch of money, now you can give more money away. Human design is just going to make you more of what you already are. So if you're a spiritual flow boy that is unintentionally taking advantage of women and causing harm, but just focused on your intention and not paying attention to your impact or accepting responsibility for your impact, and you suddenly learn a powerful system like human design, it will enable you to do more harm. And if you're the type of person that's the opposite of that and you learn human design, it can enable you to do more good. And with that being said, sometimes the only way to awaken, the only way to continue on your path is to meet somebody that will harm you. This is what I mean by like, um, if you take radical responsibility for everything that's happening in your life, there is a other side of it that is beyond that was good, that was bad. It's a I had to become more. And if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to become more than what you are right now, then plenty of people are dead at 20, but they live their body, they don't leave their body until they're 60, 70, 80 years old. And it's a rough life. I've seen it. My ancestors, I've seen my grandparents, I've seen uncles, I've seen aunts, I've seen friends give up really early and never start again. And so if you've ever given up, just want you to know that's okay. But please start again. And this is a great time. If you're hearing this message, restart your New Year's resolution on Tuesday. On Tuesday, restart your New Year's resolution and consider this. Whatever resolution you set for yourself on the first, consider that that resolution was more about the thing that you're opposing than what you actually want for yourself. I'm gonna say that again. Your January 1st resolution, if it was to get fit, eat healthier, find a partner, like whatever it was, make more money, make this amount of money, whatever it is, that that resolution was flavored by the transit that is about struggle, about fighting, about opposition. Again, you're trying to take a boat out in a storm and the wind is blowing against you and the currents are working against you. So, whatever resolution you had on January 1st, do this. Instead of calling it a resolution, call it a routine. Create a routine that's going to support you in this next chapter of life, this next year of being on planet Earth. Create a simple routine. Make it short as fuck. Make it 5 minutes, 10 minutes if you can, but start small and commit to doing it every single day. And if you miss it at the time that you normally are supposed to be doing it or that you committed to doing it, do it. Just do it. That's it. There's no secrets, right? Everyone is trying to sell these like, oh, this is quick fix, biohack your way to bullshit. There's guys that are biohacking shitty nervous systems, and now they just have souped up shitty nervous systems because they're looking for the freaking shortcuts. Katie, dude, I so needed to hear this today. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think this whole week, I don't know if I've gone live this week. I think I might have gone live Wednesday, Monday. I had a lot of stuff going on. And I love these lives, but it was admittedly I had to tap out. I had to be like, yeah, I can't do a live right now. I'm like occupied with this thing. And that's something that, I appreciate about myself, because knowing when I'm actually at my capacity is a superpower. And I also used to give up way too early. I didn't push myself at all. And since training with my teacher and best friend Pasha, who's my partner in the archive, that has changed completely, like 180. Now when something is challenging, I'm like, oh, okay, let's see how strong I actually am. I still have that, I think it's called triation or something like that. The ability to know like when enough is enough or when too much is too much. Yeah. Homies be putting loud exhaust on their lawnmowers thinking they race cars now. Ah, yeah, for real, right? It's kind of funny. These I'm using my MacBook microphone. It's pretty good. It's not bad. Aloha HD. I'm a man gen and my authority is to respond. I notice sometimes I put people off by responding or trying to give ideas slash fix things. I feel like I can't stop responding. Well, I mean, you're not really supposed to stop responding. That's like trying to get your heartbeat to stop. Try that. That's ridiculous. Your gut is going to respond to things. Now, what I would recommend that you do is stop explaining things, Michelle, and just start making the noise, right? Because it's like really off-putting for someone to be like, that's not the way to do it. That's just dumb. I don't want to do that, and because of this, and blah blah blah. So, Michelle, invitation to just be like, eh. And if they need clarification, then let them ask and then respond, right? Well, why don't you want to do that? That's I don't have energy for it. Right? Because this is what you're talking about is like your mind is kind of like writing your sacral responses as a way of gaining some kind of authority in your life when your sacral has all the authority and your mind is trying to like basically like it's like a backseat driver or like someone that's like reaches over and grabs the wheel. That's what your mind is doing in this situation. Your sacral's like, whoa, I got it. It's fine. Uh-huh. Let's do it. So stop explaining things, Michelle. And I don't know if you are explaining things. So, um, but if that hits, let me know. Um, yeah. Now when I meet challenges, I hear you and Pasha. Figure it out. Notice it. Keep going. Yeah. Right. And the thing about it is like me and Pasha, and I'm gonna project this role. This is a projection. Um, we are like the big brothers that you never had. We're the big brothers that are actually going to show you how to fight by kicking your ass. We're the big brothers that are going to say, look, if you bring another dude like this home, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. And it is not because we're being assholes. It's because we believe that you're worth more than you think you are. In fact, we know that you're worth more than you think you are. And so we are going to uphold that standard for you. And by being in the archive, you're giving us permission to do that. So, wow, you must be channeling. I'm recovering from open surgery. They did stop my heart. Oh, whoa. Heart is an interesting organ, right? Heart is a very interesting organ because a lot of people think that the heart is the center of love, but it's not. It's the center for will. It's the center for I'm gonna keep going, right? Love, and this is great because it's reflected in human design. Love is actually in the liver, the thing that filters out toxins. Love is in the blood, the thing that moves through the heart. You cannot love someone if you're not willing to love them. I'll say that again. You cannot love someone if you're not willing to love them because when things get challenging, your love and your will to love are revealed. When things get challenging, do you this I can't with this person anymore. I can't. Or I love this person. I'm going to figure this out. Loving someone and having the will to love someone are different. Which center rules gut issues? That would either be the solar plexus or the sacral. My beliefs are shook from an unexpected loss today. Nothing makes sense. Universe, why did you do this? Lisa, so feel, want to empathize with you, and also you're the only one that can feel the loss. Like just feel the loss. Feel the loss. Take your time with it. Don't try and rush through it. There's no like other side to get to. Just like be with the sensations and do your best to like actually let yourself feel it. And if you need to scream, scream. If you need to break, break. Um, be safe, please. Be safe. But like let yourself go off. Let yourself go off because this is the type of thing that society has conditioned us to explain losses, which is why we ask, why did this happen? Rather than what happened, what's happening in my body. If your body feels like shaking and convulsing, but you're afraid of looking like a psychomaniac to the people around you, go be alone. Or find someone who knows how to just shut up and hold space and let you move through stuff. Anyway, Michelle, yes, thanks. Helpful. Wonderful. You're very welcome. Conditional love versus unconditional love. Right. Yep. That's definitely how I understand it. Okay, someone with really bad gut issues. They have undefined solar plexus and defined sacral. Thoughts? They're probably expecting everybody to go along with their sacral while simultaneously absorbing the emotional energy of all the people around them. They're seeking people that are suppressing their emotions to reflect what they're doing with suppressing their sacral. and it's causing a lot of inability to digest and swallow the pills of life. Emotional needs release catharsis, yep, or they lock it in the body, yep, exactly. So again, this person with the gut issues probably has an unexpressed sacral, and then through their undefined solar plexus, they're finding ways to avoid the truth by being occupied. And are they like a big like helper? Like are they the kind of person that'll like, oh, let me carry that, let me do this for you? Are they that kind of person, Abby? Because that would say a lot. So has human design been talked about since like our paleo early human ancestors? No. So human design is actually a system that was channeled in the 80s and then kind of systematized in the 90s. So it's a very, very new system. Um, but it uses old system. It uses the Kabbalah, the chakras, astrology, and the I Ching, which are very, very old, generations old. And really, what it's about is it's a system that's designed to help us surrender to our bodies. And in my opinion, human design is the system to end all mental systems. This is my opinion, because human design as a system is attempting to get us to a place that shows us, okay, instead of relying on all these external mental faculties, we can rely on a internal authority and sensory exploration to actually live our lives. And Pranas probably said something brilliant here. Would you say it shows the evolutionary process, five centered to seven centered to nine centered beings? And by the time I believe, by the time we get to whatever comes after nine centered beings, because in human design we have nine centers, whatever we get to that evolutionary process, which Prana, what is did Rob talk about that? Did the voice give him information on that? Maybe not, because again, like from my perspective, human design is kind of like one of like the last systems that I think is going to be used for transformational healing and transformation in general, because it's quite literally a system. Yeah, like are we going from nine centers to 9, 10, 11 centered beings or 12 centered beings? Just I'm just curious if you know anything about that, since you know a lot of things about a lot of things. Um, but just because what we're doing with human design is, ultimately we're attempting to get to a point. It's like you learn the rules of art so you can break the rules, or so that you don't have to follow the rules. And that's kind of what you want to do with human design, because as a reflector, I know how to use my not self to give myself an experience that is surprising for me. Sounds weird. It's some like I've been doing this for like 10 years. So I'll do experiments where it's like, oh, my sacral is like, don't have the energy. But like I'm still curious about this. I can do this. I can handle this. Um anyway, Prana, I said, are we going from five centered to seven centered to nine centered to 11 centered? Like is there anything after the nine centered being, or is the nine centered being kind of like the just curious if you know about Ross saying anything like that. So this is my first time hearing about human design. Where or what should I start to research? Okay, Highness James, you are in such a treat. I'm biased because I created everything I'm about to tell you, but I've been studying this for 10 years and there's a lot of fluffy stuff out there. So the first thing I would do is I would go to my website, generate your body graph, and I would take a screenshot of what you get. If you have like a fair amount of resources, get one of the reports, ideally the Reiki report, because it'll give you an explanation of human design along with the analysis. That's going to be 35 bucks or 20 bucks for just the analysis. Or again, you can just take a screenshot. The main thing that you want to do though, my friend, is come join the archive. It's a membership. It's 37 bucks, super affordable. We have a class today in less than an hour, and we're going to show you how to decondition your body from a sensory and somatic point of view. So this isn't the human design system. A lot of people are getting stuck in trying to understand their body graphs rather than using their body graphs as a means of exploring their physical bodies, building a relationship with like things like their heart and their lungs and pressure, right? And so we're looking to help people actually get a physical understanding of human design rather than a mental understanding. The mental will come, okay? And that's the shiny thing that everyone wants to grab at. This, what we're sharing, is like the dirty, gritty stuff that actually will freaking change your life if you use your will and you commit and you just get into it. So my suggestion would be come join the archive, take a picture of your body graph off of my website, post it in the archive, ask any questions you need to know, but then go into the course called sensory design live replays, and start watching from number one. Today we're doing episode 5. It's like an actual TV show, which is kind of fun. You know what I mean? It's not like the whole course comes out all at once. It's like, hey, we're doing seasons, new episodes on Friday. We're doing episode 5, which is all about the sacral. At least I think so. Sometimes Pasha throws a change in there. What's up, Tyler? How we doing? Prana says yes, but we won't get there. That's what I was thinking. I was like, it's probably so far off into the future, we're not going to survive for that. I am crow. I like shiny stuff. Well, so this is the thing is like if you are a crow and you do love shiny stuff, you know, hi Tamaris. Yeah. If you do like shiny stuff, that's fine. But like have some dirt on you as well. Right? Like don't just like shiny stuff. And I'm not here to tell you how to live, but like if you just like shiny stuff, my friend, that's a very shallow life. You can appreciate the shiny things if you play around in the dirt a little bit more. And that's what we're doing. We're playing around in the dirt. You know, we are the ones that are like sharing this, but we are by no means like the teachers or the gurus. You know, if you want to see us as anything, just see us as like your big brothers, and not maybe I might be younger than you, but if you see me as your big brother, and you listen to what I have to say, some of the stuff that I say might be a little bit harsh, but it's genuinely because I care about you and I love you. And the archive is a way for me to connect with people at a very low price point that I can actually cultivate like, hey, I actually care about you. As not that I don't care about everybody in this live, but quite literally, if you're helping me feed my family, I'm gonna help you with your life. And all the likes and all that stuff are really helpful, but that's why I created the membership, so it can just be very clear like who are the people that are actually helping me support my family. I have a beautiful partner, I have a little 2-year old and another one on the way, right? Who actually wants to support my family, and in return I'm going to give you literally the best shit that I've collected over the past 12 years of being awake and navigating life. That's what it is. And if you want to call my bluff, please call my bluff. You'll be possibly very disappointed because it's just me. Like there's a bigger version of me right now because I'm live on TikTok and YouTube and etc. But it's just me. This is how I am. And I want to show you how to develop your senses and your awareness to the point where you can actually call someone's bluff when they say that, because plenty of people say that. Is that a good one, guys? Was that... It's like that was me cockadoodle doing. I am You're the rooster. I'm a water rooster. Great context, loving your flow. Highness and James, I'll see you in the archive, my friend. I feel like that's definitely, you know, again, I looked for it. I was like, who are the people that are actually like grounding spirituality? Where are the masculine spiritual dudes? And all of them are like circled up and running these, you know, containers that, in my opinion, it's like, oh, I, I've been there, I've done that. It's great. And okay, do you have a plan for your ego this whole year being defined? Yes, I certainly do. Um, I'm pretty sure 2025 is where I actually start to launch my music. So one of my egos is Coco Bones, which it came to me in a psychedelic experience, and it was a vision of my father, and I saw all of my father's fathers behind him, and then I saw the enormous amount of weight that they were keeping me safe from. It was kind of like that meme of like there's this big wolf and it's got like a bunch of arrows in its back, and then there's a little wolf and it's got one arrow in its back, and it's like here's what your ancestors have done for you. And so I saw that. My dad's name was Coco. When I opened my eyes, there was literally like a deer bones stacked up in front of me from an animal that had died months ago. And I was like, Coco Bones? And then I started shaking, and there was some kind of like cellular transformation in that shake that was like, Marco, let Coco Bones sing the songs. Let Coco Bones perform the music. Let Coco Bones play the handpan. Use your voice. So it's sort of like there's an ego of mine or a version of myself that is here to express all of the pain and experiences of my fathers, so that Marco, Reiki Marco, can sort of have his own existence. But my plan is to let Coco Bones out of the cage, and yeah. So Coco Bones, yeah, it's funny. It's kind of vulnerable for me because a lot of the times I think that my words and my utility and all of this information that I'm sharing, like a lot of this head and ajna stuff, and a lot of the like physical practices are sharing. But one of the things that I've recognized time and time and time again is that my music also really moves people. My connection with the music, I get lost in it when I get lost in it. It's not always, it's not like on tap. But when I actually have a good flow and I'm like in the music and I'm singing or I'm playing the handpan, it's it's pretty intoxicating. And I have music on Spotify right now. If you go to the links in my bio, you can click my SoundCloud or my Spotify, and it will, you can listen to some of my music. A lot of it is like sound healing music, but then I also have a handful of like kind of like dance tracks or that kind of stuff. And when I say let Coco Bones out of the cage, I think what I mean by that is, and I love this question, Prana, by the way, thank you so much for getting me to talk about this on live. I Part of my intention is to create a segment here in my live space where I go live and I just play music, and it's not my typical human design and all that stuff. I'll still keep this going, but anyway, yeah. All right, guys. Let's see. Find a shiny thing at the beach. It's more special than finding it at the store. I hope you get what I'm saying. Steven, that's a great analogy, dude. Sorry, I should have read that earlier. Would have loved to read that earlier. Do you mind touching on sleep paralysis? New here. Thank you. Jose, yeah, totally. Still trying to get how to utilize being a reflector. You'll come join the archive, sis. If you're not already in there. I see you're joining from YouTube. So um, come join the archive. It's like we have so many reflectors in there. I'm a reflector. Pasha was raised by a reflector, so in terms of like getting reflector information about reflectors and how to live as a reflector, again, I consider myself a very capable and energetic and consistent reflector, and it's not by accident. And it's also not by just everything that human design told me. That helped, but there's other stuff. Sleep paralysis, it's astral projection, right? It's like I made an example the other day. It's like I had a sometimes people talk about like waking up and not being able to move their body and then they freak out. So what happens if you don't freak out though? What happens if you recognize I'm not in danger, I'm not dying, I'm not dead, I'm just not like fully in the body, I'm not fully controlling the body. And this happens in deep states of meditation too. It's when the body is relaxed enough, when the body feels safe and secure enough, your spirit will start to explore, or your astral body will start to explore. It's kind of what it's meant to do. And this is why danger and stress is so important, and it's very misunderstood because most people avoid danger and they avoid stress. And because of that, they're very frail, they're very weak, they give up easily, their nervous systems never develop. If you, instead of running away from the sleep paralysis or seeing it as like a danger, you do kind of the exercises that I've been sharing with you, you come train with us in the archive, you can become more of a threat so that you feel less threatened. And then when sleep paralysis comes along, you're not as threatened by sleep paralysis. It's a more like, this is interesting. One of the first things we learned in Reiki was how to not accept or reject a sensation, not to get excited that I'm seeing colors or get scared that I'm seeing demons. We learn how to entertain it without, oh gosh, and there's a really great I don't know what you would call it, like a Vedic story or something like that, and about a kid who went to a king to be like taught in the kingly ways. And so the king said, I'm going to put a bowl on your head and I want you to walk around my palace all around, go into all the rooms, and if you come back, and then come back to me. Kid went, did it all. He didn't spill a drop. The king goes, yeah, I have nothing to teach you. You walked around my palace, which has all of the shiny things that you could imagine, and you were able to not lose your center. There's nothing I can teach you. In fact, here's a bunch of land, like here, rule this. And so that's kind of where I'm going, guys. Or that's what I'm doing. But anyway, I have to sign off, guys. I have to get ready for the archive, or I get to get ready for the archive, get to spend some time with my brother Pasha, and then we get to drop in with y'all. So, in half an hour, our live class on sensory design in the archive is starting. If you want to join, the price is $37. That's your first month of membership. That's what it's always going to be, even when the price goes up, which it probably will go up in the next month or two. But yours will be 37 bucks a month or 333 a year. You get like 3 or 4 months for free. Come join the archive. You can look at our calendar. You can look at the different courses, but the link for joining class is only in the archive. It's only in the calendar. So if you are like, yo, I love what you're putting down, Marco, just come join class. See what I mean? We have class replays. So if you can't make it in half an hour or you're busy, no worries, you'll be able to watch the replay. I post it usually within 24 hours of the class being finished. um yeah, that's it. That's it. And if you want like the typical human design report, I've got the best. I've got the dormant 26. So I believe I have the best reports out there. I definitely have the best app for you to use. It's called Neutrino Design. You guys have seen this guy Prana in here. He's a huge part of that team, as well as myself. And it's just subjectively speaking the best app out there. But I think if you give Neutrino Design a shot, if you give the archive a shot, you feel what we're putting down. You're either going to resonate and great, stay. And if you don't resonate, please go. Because if you're looking for someone else to do something else, go find them. They're out there. We do a very specific thing. And so, just an invitation to everyone. The link is in my bio. Click the first button there. It's join the archive. You know, get signed up, set up your subscription, and I will see you guys in the archive. Aloha.